Hello Motor Rider World fans, and welcome to Paddock Talk, talking MotoGP, Saturday Valencia. It's the final race of the year, the title deciding race between Pecco Bagnaia and Fabio Quartararo. I've literally just finished watching the qualifying sessions, well, the whole day pretty much, FP3, FP4, Q1 and Q2. Very entertaining, but even through the TV, even sitting on my couch, even though I'm not there, sadly, I can just feel the tension. I can feel the pressure. I've got a couple of mates there and a couple of other journos and connections that I have, and they all just say that Paddock, there's just so much tension. All the riders, a lot of the riders are walking on eggshells, and there's just really this bubble of pressure inside that paddock. And of course there would be, because it's the final race of the season, and it's between Pecco Bagnaia and Fabio Quartararo. Who will the champion be? Ducati versus Yamaha. There's so many roles that need to play out this weekend. Third in the championship is still up for grabs between Aprilia, Aleix Espargaro. How they would love to finish in a top three in a MotoGP World Championship. That would be phenomenal for them. But Enea Bastianini, we know the kind of form he's in, although he didn't have the greatest Saturday in Valencia, it must be said. That side goes to Aleix Espargaro and Aprilia on Saturday, but there's a really good entertaining battle there as well. So how did it end up then? Jorge Martin, the kid is just so ridiculously fast. He literally goes out in Q2, and his first flying lap goes fastest, and that was the lap time that set the pole position at 29.7. I think it was the first rider to go into the 29s, and 0.3 faster than any lap time that had been posted the whole weekend. That is how good this kid is. He just is so good on a one-lap flying lap. There's no one faster than Jorge Martin. It's his third pole position consecutively. We know Phillip Island, he smashed the lap record there. We know at Sepang, he destroyed the lap record there, the first rider to ever go into the 157 brackets. And now at Valencia, puts it on pole position again. His fifth pole position of the year, but an interesting stat, and I didn't really pay attention to it. I haven't really been kind of keeping track, but he hasn't won a race this year. It just seems like he's won a lot because of these pole position performances, but he actually hasn't won a race this year. He looked really good last time out at Sepang, had the pace, and we all know what happened there. He threw it away. So can he keep it on two wheels? Does he have the race pace for Valencia? It's going to be very, very tough. Valencia, I've ridden around it before. I don't know how these guys get those MotoGP bikes around this track. It's a goat kart track on a MotoGP bike. I was watching the shoulder cams of, I think it was Maverick and Pecco Bagnaia, and you just can't get any kind of momentum on a MotoGP bike around Valencia. It's just second and third gear pretty much all the way. You come down the straight and then it's second and third gear again. And I think that's what's keeping Pecco back. Pecco looks like he's riding a little bit nervous to me. Why wouldn't you be? There's so much riding on this. His first MotoGP world title, Italy's first MotoGP world title since Rossi. Rossi's there. The whole of Italy's, they want this Italian superstar that Pecco Bagnaia is going to be the next Rossi. He's got to deal with all that pressure. Ducati's first championship in 15 years. There's just so much pressure. There's so much riding on the shoulders of Pecco Bagnaia, and you can see it. He's definitely riding a little bit nervous. I don't think Valencia is the kind of track that best suits his riding style. He likes to get momentum, a little bit more fast flowing, and this is very start-stoppy, edgy, and just can't get momentum going. But certainly looks like a rider that's riding with championship in the mind. He'll start from 8th on the grid, which is always a worry to me in this kind of position, because turn 1 and turn 2, we know, at the start of a MotoGP race, it can pretty much be like a Moto3 race. So, he's got to be careful, but you can't be too careful, because sometimes caution is your worst enemy, and that's what gets you caught out. So it's going to be tough for Pecco Bagnaia. It's a tough place to pass. Even though you're on a Ducati, it really is a tough place to pass, because it's hard to get the momentum. So, you really got to line your move up 2 or 3 corners back, and then just try and get that momentum. Turn 1, potentially, but it can go so wrong so easily in turn 1. Turn 2, potentially again. Turn 3, it's the first time you really throw it on the right-hand side, or turn 4, I should say. First time you really throw it on the right-hand side of the tire. Do you want to take the risk there? There are places to pass, but there's so much risk involved. I mean, it's always a risk involved when passing at this level. But Valencia, it is so narrow. When I went and rode there for the first time, I couldn't believe how narrow it was, how up and down. The camera just doesn't show the real Valencia, actually. So Pecco Bagnaia from 8th on the grid. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays it out. I think he's going to pretty much pull if I'm in 6th or 7th or 8th and I'm comfortable on track, I think Pecco's going to settle for that. We know that Fabio Quartararo has to win. He has no other option. If he wins and Pecco crashes or finishes 15th, then Fabio Quartararo can be champion. Quartararo, right at the end, put in a good lap. got himself onto fourth. He is just getting everything out of that Yamaha. He still looks absolutely exhausted to me. But Fabio, no matter what happens, can know that he gave his all. And then he was let down by his machine and his manufacturer, to be honest. But fourth on the grid, good starting point for him. Here, the problem is, he's got to try and get past a Jorge Martin on a Ducati. Not going to be easy. A Marquez on a Honda, who doesn't give a toss about who's going to be champion. He just wants to end the season off on a high and take that momentum, take that confidence into the testing on Tuesday and Wednesday with a new machine, with all these new bits coming, and then into the 2023 season. So he's going, it's all out war for Marc Marquez. He doesn't care who, he's not going to let anyone go and this and that. He's going for a podium and a race win. He still said, I'm not the fastest rider out there and the podium's going to be hard. But Marc Marquez around Valencia, just try and pass him. Good luck trying to pass him. Then there's Jack Miller, Pecco Bagnaya's teammate. You know, how he would love to end his Ducati era, or 5 years with Ducati. I think Ducati made the best signing they probably ever have there. He's just been such an ambassador for Ducati in MotoGP, and he's done a phenomenal job. So hats off, Jack Miller. I think you can end your Ducati career off, whatever happens on Sunday race day. You can be very proud of what you've done for the Bologna Bullet Factory. And he could potentially really help them get this World Championship. Third on the grid, ahead of Fabio Quartararo. You know, he could be that guy that just keeps Quartararo behind him and says, you ain't getting past me. I'm on the podium. You know, good luck trying to make that move. And that could throw a whole different kind of span in the works. Fabio Quartararo, we saw him overriding. We saw him in qualifying make that mistake on his final flying lap. There's just not much more he can get out of that motorbike. He's on the limit. FP4, he was fast. He was consistently fast, putting in really good lap times. But that was by himself. When there's other riders and you got Ducati handbrakes in front of you and your front Michelin tires overheating because you're trying to make those, there's so many key factors in this. But anyway, I think it's going to be a very entertaining, tense Sunday at Valencia, and I'm going to sit on the couch. I mean, my nails are already down to the wire, but I think it's going to be very entertaining. Second row of the grid, Alex Rins, 5th place. Now, Simon Crafar said it, and I completely agree with him. I think he's going to be a big contender for the podium, maybe even the win. He would love to buy out of his Suzuki time, and Suzuki would love to buy out on the podium, if not a win. So watch out for Alex Rins. He's really got huge momentum since Phillip Island, and I think he's just going to bring it into that. Maverick Vinales, much better ride from him. It wasn't looking fantastic. Came out of Q1 into Q2, brought that momentum in there, and puts himself on the second row of the grid there in 6th place. So brilliant ride from Vinales. Him and Aprilia need something good to just end off the season, because they had such a great time and it's kind of fizzled out. Maverick looked like he was losing his way. You know, Aprilia have lost something, but Maverick, more importantly, looked like he was losing something. So he's really got to regain that confidence back. Brad Binder in 7th place on this new KTM chassis. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I was kind of worried that as soon as the pace started going into the 29s, that, you know, Brad and the KTM wouldn't be able to. That's always been their handbrake, is they get to a fast time and then they can't just find that extra 2-3 tenths. But he did a phenomenal lap to put himself on that 3rd row in 7th. And I said it's a tough place to pass, but one man that can make just gaps appear is Brad Binder on that KTM. So watch out for him coming from the 3rd row. He's keen to really end off his season strong. This new chassis seems to have some really positive sides to it, and it seems to be working for him in KTM. So Brad Binder, take my journalist cap off, my Brad Binder fan cap on. Yeah, I'm screaming and shouting for you. Absolutely, you and KTM and your team deserve a great result in this last race. Journalist cap back on. As I said, Bagnaia lines up with him on that 3rd row of the grid. Then there's Johan Zarco in 9th place. Alicia Spargo in 10th. He's doing everything he can to hold on to 3rd in the championship. In one way, I'd love him and Aprilia to seal that 3rd in the championship. I think they deserve it, although Enea Bastianini deserves it as well with the season that he's had on a GP21 machine in that Cressini Ducati team. You know, pretty much a satellite team. It'll be brilliant for Bastianini, who wrapped up the independent title. This will really be another feather in his cap going into the factory team for next year. And just a little note on our second South African fanboy cap back on, Darren Binder. It's just looked like such a tough weekend for poor Daz. I think he's been, you know, in many ways like Fabio and Franco to an extent, although I think Franco Morbidelli can be his own worst enemy at times. I think they've been let down by Yamaha and their team. I think Darren's biggest handbrake this season is it was a rookie coming into the championship, learning how to ride a MotoGP bike with a crew chief and half a crew that also had hardly any MotoGP experience, and that's really hampered Darren's progress this season. No matter what, he can buy out of his first year in MotoGP, I think, with his head held high. I think he's done a lot of positive things. There's been a lot of downs and negatives, there's no doubt about that, but I think he proved a lot of people wrong. I think he proved to himself that he can run at that level, and I think it's a great thing, him going into Moto2, have a great 2023 season, potentially win it 2023, if not 2024, go win Moto2 and go into MotoGP in 2025 with a better ride, better team, better bike, and really show his true potential there. Ladies and gentlemen, all I can tell you now is find a comfy spot on Sunday, because it is going to be an absolutely epic race. Moto3, Moto2 championships up for decider there as well, between Augusto Fernandez and Ayagura, and then MotoGP. I just hope, so far they've obviously, all the focus and the TV coverage has been on Fabio and Pecco Bagnaia, with the odd Marquez thrown in. Haven't really showed off anyone else, and I understand that, but I hope they don't miss too much on Sunday from concentrating too much on those guys. I think it's going to be an entertaining race. I'm so excited and keen to see what Pecco Bagnaia does, how he plays this out. Rossi's going to be there. Agostini's there. The whole of Italy is on top of Pecco Bagnaia. Yeah, he's definitely riding nervous, and it's a lot of pressure for him. Will it be Pecco Bagnaia or will it be Fabio Quartararo? The title decider, the final race of 2022. What are we going to do? I don't want to go in the garden and do gardening for like 4 months. But yeah, what an exciting season it's been, and I'm keen to see how it ends. Sunday, race day, Valencia. Stay tuned. We'll do the Paddock Talk on Sunday, and then talking MotoGP. Keep a note, it might be pushed to Tuesday night because of some logistical problems for Monday, but we'll keep you posted on the Motor Rider World Facebook page.